Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Binghamton City Council for the first budget hearing agenda, draft 4.0, City Council Chambers, 5 p.m., day 1, Wednesday, 27 September 2023. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk will call the roll. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Resonetti,
Present.
Councilwoman Riley.
Present.
Councilmember Friedman,
Present.
Councilman Burns is absent, Councilman Strawn is absent, Councilman Scanlon,
Present.
and President Scringy.
Present.
That's 5 here, 2 absent, Burns and Strawn.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a quorum in place for budget review in consort with Chapter 26 of the City Charter. I, at this time, will relinquish the chair to Chairman Scanlon to lead the budget meeting.
All right, we'll get right into it here. Let's please open pages 62 through 66 and 218, and we'll welcome Chief Gardner. Chief Gardner, highlight your budget, what's material changes and so forth, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The budget is very similar to last year. There's the usual cost increases, contractual increases due to personnel. And we also have additional expenses for maintenance costs and for the new fire headquarters and capital costs for equipment and fire apparatus. So the total operational budget for next year would be $8,829,000. Oh, that's just the salaries. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It was $11,322,271.96. Some of the additional expenses this year will be due to the new fire headquarters. And if you look on page 65, you'll see headquarters under building equipment improvements and maintenance. Actually, it's fairly costly. It's about $19,000 to maintain all the new equipment, which is it's a lot of green energy equipment. It's very efficient and it needs to be carefully maintained. And but that was one of the major increases in the operational budget. So we also have several capital projects, including Engine 1 for the south side and a new ladder tower. Now, Engine 1 is a 2004 Suffin, and it has 92,000 miles on it and about 9,000 hours. So if you calculate that, it's about 452,000 miles this apparatus has. Each hour it counts for about 40 miles. That's how they calculate it. So that's something that could be purchased next year. The tower, unfortunately, takes 3 to 4 years. Once you order it, it takes about 3 to 4 years for delivery. But we can sign a contract next year and lock in the price. So the current tower is a 2008, has 65,000 miles on it, also has 9,000 hours. So that's about 400,000 miles total on that apparatus, and it'll be 3 years and 3 or 4 years till we get the new one. So you're gonna have all that additional wear and tear on it by the time we get it. And but anyway, those are the highlights right there. Do you have any questions?
Remember our council member Friedman, please.
Thank you. Yeah. Interim President Scanlon, how do I address you? I don't even know.
Chairman.
Chair,
Yeah, that's fine.
Chairman Scanlon,
That
all
works.
right. Thank you, Chief Gardner, for being here, and thank you also to Chuck and Lori. Unsurprisingly, I have some questions, of
Okay.
course.
That's all right.
So I am wondering if you could explain the difference in the distribution of the different firefighter grades from this year to, or from last year to this year. I noticed, for example, there are no grade 2 firefighters. Last year, there were no grade 3 firefighters. What's going on with the distribution there?
Okay, you're questioning like the grade 4 and grade 5?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's from the newer hires.
Oh, wait, make sure you're on the mic.
When we hire someone, they come in at a grade 5, okay? That's their lowest, actually, they start at a probation status. Then they go up to a grade 1 after 1 year, a grade 2. So next year, there's nobody that's in a grade 2. Okay, that just is based off of the people that were hired probably like 4 years ago.
Okay, so we have a pretty good idea of who will advance, but the probationary might be a little more variable because we don't know.
Who's the probationary yet. Those
Right.
are people that we'll hire next year,
Right,
okay? But we know who's gonna jump up a grade each year.
okay. Oh. Okay, great.
If you look down at the very low last item there, there's a negative 104. Those are, so we're putting the salaries in at the full salary, but we know these people won't go to that rate until either April, May, June. So we calculate that and put in a negative for that.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. My next question is, can you explain what out of title means? That's a budget line, the last one on page
Out of
62.
62.
Sure. Out of title is, it's a contractual item. And if, say, a firefighter who's a, grade 1 is doing the work of a lieutenant that day, he gets compensated for that, for the differential.
So that could be on a day-to-day basis. That doesn't
Yes.
necessarily
Right.
necessitate a change in title.
Right,
Okay,
correct.
An example would be if someone's sick or
Sick day, vacation, something
Yeah.
like that.
someone has to cover that position.
okay. All right, thank you. I'm now looking on page 63, and there's a few items that I had questions about. The overtime is increased significantly. Is that contractual as well?
No, that's not contractual. They just, in the years there, there's been a bit of maybe a shortfall, but there's a lot of reasons for it to increase. There's a lot of variables with firefighters being injured. Things that create overtime is like vacation, personal leave, maternity leave for the union reps, which is contractual, sick time, work-related injuries, Family Leave Act. They go out training, they go out of town to like Montour Falls, that might generate overtime. Death in the family and sometimes unfilled positions if they happen during the year will cause personnel shortfalls, which will have to be backfilled with overtime.
So
Okay.
Councilwoman Freeman, we have been consistently budgeted like $400,000 a year and come down here and ask for modifications, which you'll get on Monday. Okay, there's one coming down for this Monday. We're hoping that 550,000, we don't have to do this next year.
Okay,
And basically, one of the main reasons for overtime is they have to have so many people working on a shift. Okay, if there's someone that's calls in sick or is on vacation, Al has to find someone else from another facility to go there or bring someone in on overtime to do it.
right. Okay, thank you. So the equipment line has decreased significantly. I noticed that we did not budget for the thermal camera and the Blitz fire monitor. Is that equipment that we no longer use?
Right, yeah, yeah, it was a one-time purchase.
Okay. Okay, and then there's also the fire equipment line. Can you explain what would normally go in that line and why it's changed so much from year to year?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Laura just reminded me that was a line we used for equipment for the new fire station.
Okay.
So that's probably why you see a difference in it.
Okay, thank you. Um. Okay, I have one last question on page 66. I noticed there are some new sublines in the travel and training line, the paramedic recertification and the fleet maintenance mechanic training. Can you
Yes,
explain why those are now in the budget?
now our mechanic has certifications that have to be renewed periodically. So he's overdoing some and we're gonna send them out next year. It's mostly in Ohio. So he'll have to travel and he'll have to stay there probably 3 or 4 days. And so that's why that was added. And some of these lines we just kind of broke out and broke down. What was the other line you were asking about? Oh, yeah, paramedic recertifications is their monthly continuing medical education. And so that money is to pay the instructors to come in and teach the course.
And why hasn't that been, or why wasn't that in last year's budget?
I'm not sure if we had it. We might have had it lumped in with tuition or something, but I'd like to see it broken out so I can track it better throughout the year.
Okay. All right, those are all my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions for Chief Gardner?
I'll make a motion to move pages 62 through 66 forward, Mr. Chairman.
I need a second, please.
Second.
62 through 66 and 218 are passed. Thank you.
You gotta do 218.
Oh, I thought you-
218.
Okay, all right. 60 through 66 are passed. Thank you.
Okay, on page 218, under the fire section, we have, we are going to remove the rescue boat. And we are going, and under parks, we are going to add a $3,000 entry for AED trainers. And under public works, we're going to add a $37,000 entry for construction materials. So it will equal, they're all under the ARPA column. So if you want me,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for page 218 for the fire section to eliminate the $40,000 rescue boat line.
I need a second, please. Okay, we're removing the rescue boat.
now, under the park section,
Okay, so let's go back to the fire rescue boat. All in favor of removing that from the fire line?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Proceed now. Thank you.
the next, you want to do the two additions too, so we equal the 40,000 and the.
Right.
I don't mind doing that, but
You want it, we can do them in their sections as they come up.
yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say, yeah, because it's
Let's
only
do
the
that.
fire section we're
Okay.
doing right now.
Okay.
But I made a note of it though.
Okay.
So 3,000 under
Yeah.
parks and 37,000 under public works.
So now we need to approve the whole fire section.
Well, they're,
Right.
they gotta approve the 218.
Well, the 218 is amended.
The fire section on page 218 as
Yes, ma'am.
amended.
Yep,
Yep.
correct.
I'll take a
Yeah.
motion to approve the fire section, with amendments, please?
So moved.
Need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, chief. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, let's proceed to the treasurer's department, and let's open page 20 and 21 and 227, please. Welcome, Jennifer. Tell us about page 20 and 21 and 27, please. Just highlight the significant changes, please.
There really aren't too many significant changes. Oh, there really aren't too many significant changes. There are some, there's a small change in personal services that's just based on contractual obligations. A little bit of overtime this year that's not in the budget for next year. Let's see, office the same. Printing. Everything, yeah, everything stays the same.
Questions for Ms. Voorhees, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm not sure if this is a question for Jennifer, Jennifer, great to see you, by the way.
too.
Or Corp Counsel. So I'm glad to see in the mayor's budget under A1210.5100 at the top of 16. So the deputy mayor title has been inserted, and the executive assistant to the mayor title has been treasurers. I'm gonna shut up. All set.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Joe.
Page 227, please.
Okay, yep, so I added a $500 meter tampering fee. And I also added $5 to each of the turn-on fees. The $50 fee is now 55, 100 is now 105. That is to offset the cost of mailing certified letters to those accounts that are shut off.
Council,
There's a,
this is a separate handout. Am I correct? All right, this is a separate handout we're talking about now. Did you get one? It was in your box, I think. It was in your box, I think. Does anybody not have it? Because we can take a second and go down and get it.
It's at the very, does anybody need it? Yeah. If you have your laptop with you, it's on the end of the PDF.
Hey, do you have one? Okay. So the typo apparently, so we're going off these pages now. All right, Jennifer, could you go over what you just said because we were fumbling with the extra pages here?
Yep, no, that's all right. I added a $500 fee for tampering with the water meters. And also $5 to each of the turn-on fees to offset the expense of mailing certified letters to those customers who haven't paid.
Questions on page 227? Councilmember Friedman, please.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. So my question is, do these bills typically get sent to the address where, let's say if it's a landlord, where the tenants live, or do these go to the landlord?
So, two copies go out. One gets posted to the property for anyone who lives at the property, and then the same exact letter gets mailed to the billing address on file, and that's what goes certified.
Okay, and since it's certified, that means that we know for sure that the person received it.
Yeah, or if they decide not to receive it.
Right, and then it gets sent back.
Yep.
To us. Okay, all right, great, thank you.
Any other questions? On page 227.
Motion to move the city fee schedule on page 227.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Jennifer. We're all set. Thank you. All right, open page 81, 82, 83 through 86, 87, 88, 89, 92, 93, 94, and 218 and 219. And welcome, Mr. McGinnis.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you today?
Good.
Good.
So we don't have a ton of huge changes. Obviously, some of our personnel services are up with the new Teamsters contract that went in last year. The only other real big change is at the senior center. We have added a new full-time position there that is, the pay is being funded by Broome
Okay,
County.
that on, Pat?
That'd be page 93. The salary is covered by Broome County. Office for Aging will, give us that $33,000 back, and then we pay for, healthcare and benefits of the position. It was a part-time position that was a county employee. They asked if we would be interested in making it a full 35-hour-a-week position under the Parks Department versus having two different agencies, having employees in the building. And I thought it was a good win for us to have more staff and more hours available for covering the senior center.
Now, what you proceed to tell us about 218 and 219, and we can go back if somebody has a question on the other pages.
Yeah. 218 is a lot of contractual payments we make for our lease agreements. So Discovery Center, Ross Park. And then there are some stuff we do yearly that ideally we don't spend it all every year. So it will roll over. So those numbers are a little bit lower than it would be if we took a full amount every year. And then we're replacing two of our pickup trucks this year that are basically at the end of their life. They'll be snowplow vehicles, be the big things. And 219, we have a trail, we have a grant match in there, some money to fix up some various basketball and tennis courts. Our portion for the Ross Park Carousel project, and a set aside to finish the Parks Garage foundation repairs that are ongoing as we speak.
Questions for Mr. McGinnis?
Chairman,
Yes,
thank you.
Councilman Screen.
Hey, Pat, thank you for joining us this evening. For the new full-time position at the senior center, which is a great idea. Just out of curiosity, who's the primary employer of that person? Is it the city of Binghamton or is it Broome County?
It was Broome County.
Yeah.
It will now become City of
City-
Binghamton.
okay.
So we'll hire, the person who was in the role previously has left for a different role in the county.
Got it.
So we'll have a, clean slate to pick from. Not that she was a bad employer.
No,
It's just,
yeah, no. Yep.
you know,
that
we're
makes
not
sense.
inheriting an employee from them.
Thank you, Pat. Also, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on the park section of page 218 to add a line for $3,000 for the purposes of AE trainers.
All in favor?
Aye,
Anyone opposed?
thank you.
Councilmember Riley had a question for Mr. McGinnis?
Chairman, how are you, Pat?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, good. I see a few subtle changes that I just want to make sure we are clear about. On page 83, I know you talked about buying new equipment, but there's almost it's not a significant drop, but we spent a lot and we heard a lot about equipment repairs and the like for parks and for the things we use within this department. And now you're requesting $8,000 less. Do we think because we brought the new equipment in the previous year, we will not need the additional repairs and the like? Is
That is correct. That line from 23 is also showing that we transferred in some money for some projects, and I had some carryover from 2022 that was outstanding, so some of that's showing. But we're in, knock on wood, pretty good shape going into the next year, that hopefully I'm not constantly
coming back?
yes.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And then similarly, subtle changes in professional services. Oh, no, I skipped one. I'm sorry. So chemicals,
Yes.
again, a big leap.
And I'm gonna be back shortly with, so liquid chlorine, as you remember last year, I came back with more money, raised the price significantly, or the budget significantly in 23, and then they raised the price of liquid chlorine way up again. So this is showing hopefully what we can use to get through the year with the new pricing. It's gone up from like, $1.25 2 years ago to almost $5 a gallon now.
Okay, and so we're not seeing here in terms of encumbered, you may bring us additional bills. Is that what I'm to us?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew
So
that was coming.
I talked with Amrex. They said, instead of, me doing this 6 times, can we just wait till the pools are closed and then get it all
Then give
squared
us
away?
one bill for
Yes.
2023.
Yep.
Okay,
so-
that's why we don't see.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll be back.
All right, that helps tremendously. And then finally, on page 86, we noticed another significant decrease where we encumbered 67,000, but we're only proposing a $14,000 budget. So parks and improvement and maintenance, was that tied into?
That was, we transferred money this year for some large project. I don't know it off the top of my head. I can shoot you an email what it is, but we went in last year with 14.6. It might have been something outstanding, but I can, or they can pull it up.
Oh, is that what they're doing right now? Okay, all right, thank you. So whatever it was proposed, it was probably supported by funding, and we're not looking to proceed in that direction in the future.
Yep, it was probably a one-time, improvement project that.
That concludes my questions, although I think they're going to come back with a response shortly.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilwoman Residency, please. We're waiting.
So that's something we've always kept in case of emergence. If there's a tree, we felt like we couldn't handle, it's too big or something. With how we restructured the department to have double the tree staff, and just the talent level of those guys, I didn't feel like, there's a tree in the city that's going to throw us for a loop that we're gonna have to bring in an outside service.
Other questions, Mr. McGinnis? Councilmember Friedman, please.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Hi, Pat. Thanks for being here. Okay, I have some questions. Why will, oh. Yeah. Sorry.
So to answer Councilwoman Riley's question, the two one-time projects were a new pool liner at MacArthur Park, which is underway right now, and recoring all of the locks in the city parks, which is, So that's why there was a significant, jump there. That's, one-offs.
Other questions for Mr. McGinnis? Councilwoman.
All right, thank you. I'm like trying to interpret my notes, which are sometimes unreadable, even though I'm the one that wrote them. So in the professional services line, I noticed that the proposed budget is the same, but we expended almost $1,000 more. Do you remember what that was for in professional services?
Which one? I have a couple.
Oh,
professional
sorry, on
services.
page 81.
81 was, I ended up transferring, so that AED money that we just put back in, to the capital. I ended up paying the AED servicing out of that professional services.
Okay. All right, thank you. My next question is on page 83. I'm looking at the personal services retention stipend, and this was from ARPA, evidently. Who is eligible for that retention stipend?
So that was contractual with the Teamsters. I believe it is Teamsters Blue Collar. I believe that is everyone who is still with us 1 year after the new contract was signed. Or I don't know the exact specific, or who stays a year.
It is, it'll be the next July when we make the payment, it would be everyone that has been with the city in the Teamsters contract from, I think it's October 1st of this year till the end of June next year. They'll get that retention at the end of July.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Mr. McGinnis? Yes, Councilwoman Friedman. I'm
Thank
sorry, I
you.
thought you were done. I apologize.
I'm never done with
All right,
questions.
I know.
Don't you know me? So on on page 83. What? Oh, yeah. In disguise. Okay, so the equipment line on page 83 also has decreased significantly. Can you explain?
Yeah,
That-
that was kind of what Councilwoman Riley asked.
Was that
yeah,
your first question? I'm sorry.
yeah, we just feel like we're in pretty good shape
Okay.
with, hopefully we've got ourselves up to speed and we're not behind the 8 ball anymore going forward.
Okay, I apologize for
No,
not catching that.
No,
It
no
was
worries.
hard to
My
keep up.
budget is big and
Right.
confusing, so I get it.
Thank you for your patience. Okay, so now I'm on page 84. The carousel maintenance line, I noticed that's now budgeted for $20,000.
Yes.
Is that for Ross Park, and how does the,
So that used to be in past years, a capital line that we would, if we didn't spend it, we'd build it up. This is, we spend it every year, so we decided to, just make it a regular line item that will cover, WRF, designs to come in and do their annual, if there's a horse with a crack or, a leg broke, they come in every year, clean the whole ride, clean all the art, touch up anything that needs to be done. So that'll be for Rec Park.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I think we opened through page what?
81 to 94.
94, okay. Okay, and so I'm looking at page 87. Under the last line under temporary services, there's weather-related closures. And that's negative 62,000. Can you explain that line, please?
Yeah, that's something we do every year with the pools, summer fun, and the carousels. I try and sit on my calculator and come up every hour. We're going to be open all summer long, try and gauge that. And then we take a shot at reducing that number we look at the previous summer, how many days we were closed because of, inclement weather, things like that. And then try and bring that total, that total line down to closer to what we're actually going to end up spending versus if we were open every hour we were scheduled to be open.
Right. So I guess this is maybe just the way that it's formatted, but since these are hourly positions, I'm wondering why, let's say in relation or in the case of a weather related closure, why that's a separate line rather than just not taking it out of the hourly line.
Let me explain that. If you, in the
Okay.
past, okay, when we do this about 3 years ago, he'd be budgeting the whole amount. And every year there was $50,000 or $60,000 going back to fund balance, charging the taxpayers for that money. And the conversation we had is that it was due to closures. So if he has a rain out, we're not paying anybody to work that. So we came up with a formula, if you want to call it that, of saying we're going to reduce. We're not going to be open up for 75 days. We're only going to be open for 70. And we put that calculation in there.
I see. So if. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. And I guess this is a related question. On the next page, on page 88, there's then an overtime line. And underneath it says overtime at the end of the season to keep the pools open.
Yes.
So why is that a separate line rather than just being incorporated into
So
the?
that would be towards the end of the year as lifeguards go back to college and start their fall sports. To try and keep our pools right open to Labor Day. We have a smaller pool of lifeguards to draw from. That would be so we can pay them to work more than 40 hours a week. So it'd
Okay.
have to come out of a separate line.
Smaller pool of lifeguards. I liked that.
That was unintentional.
I didn't say it. Okay. Now I'm looking at page 89. Under athletic supplies, there's athletic equipment is a line, and then there's the next line is a bunch of athletic equipment listed. So can you explain the difference between those two lines and why they're funded separately?
If I was a avid Munis user, I would have just combined them into one $20,000 line. They've just always been split like that.
Okay.
So it all goes towards the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm a.
Or
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
I had been smart enough to ask Lori to just do that for me.
Okay. And my next question is the youth programming line going from $1 million in our adjusted budget to being zeroed out. Oh, that's ARPA, actually.
Yeah, that was, run through the mayor's office for not-for-profits.
Right. I missed the ARPA designation. Okay, I think that might be. Oh, okay, I'm on page 94 now. The last line, the band concerts, I see that we every year, well, in 2022, 2023, we've designated $1,200 and haven't spent anything in 2022 or 2023. What's up with that?
So she usually does her large, two large ones at the end of the year. She usually does a like fall dinner dance and then a holiday dinner dance. So that money should be spent up before the end of the year.
Okay. And, okay, I think those are all of my questions. Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. McGinnis?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move forward pages 81 through 89, 92 through 94, 218 as amended, and 219.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Mr. McGinnis, let's move on to golf fund, please.
I was so excited. I thought I was out of here.
Not yet.
So golf fund is, it's our, proposed budget is up a little bit, but, some of our capital numbers are, way down now that we've gotten a lot of the coursework started, finished, or scheduled and funded already. I believe our So yeah, we have it, we've, zeroed out, to hopefully break even this year at the course.
Break even, we're moving $97,000. 97.25, is being moved from the general fund to the golf fund to support it based off of our estimates. That would be on page 144. Where you see the interfund transfers, that's money that's coming from the general fund to the golf fund.
Councilman Burns, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wondering. So we're doing so well up there. They got some of my money. And I love being up there. But how much is it costing the city rather than go through the whole thing for me? Which I've done, but just wondering, how much does it cost the city to have the golf course? After we've taken all their money and what we're spending, what do you think it is?
So this year would be $97,825.
That's what we're anticipating, Joe, and that's pretty much what it's been. maybe a little bit more than that some years, but
Mhm.
that's what it's been running about. And once we get the fifth year, I think we're in year 3 of the paying for all the equipment we bought. That's like $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
Hopefully we'll be close to break even.
Mhm. Thank you.
Other questions from Councilwoman Riley, please.
Thank you again, Chairperson. So similar to Councilman Burns' question, the $97,000 was what we discussed when we talked about the partnership with Ely until we quote unquote break even. So that 97 will come from our fund balance for out of general operations, not out of fund.
Right. When you see, if you look in at page 99 or where A9901 is, you'll see it there. I'm not sure what page that is.
And again, this is based upon approximations because we could have a boom and we would say we netted 97 or even 100,000 in revenues through parks and tournaments and what have you. Then we may begin breaking even earlier than we projected, and then we would not need to.
This is only for the golf course. This
That's
has
what I'm-
nothing to do with none of the other recreational stuff.
No. The 97 I'm quoting that I rounded up to 100,000 was specifically related to the interfund transfer that you said we've been doing from year to year.
Yes.
So again, if we had a boom and which resulted in $100,000 surplus and it was consistent enough, we would not need to then budget. Thank you, Lori. You got it the first time. Thank you. So then, but we're projecting that we will not break even until we no longer have to pay for the new equipment rental, which is
I
in
think
year
that's
3.
I think that's a fair representation.
The things, like, oh my goodness.
Did you see that?
That was a big one.
Huh?
Okay.
Big spider.
Thank you.
Joe, you might get swatted.
Listen, I
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. So I am looking, there are a lot of lines here. I'm looking on page 149. There are a lot of lines that seem to have similar names. For example, golf course maintenance expense and golf maintenance or food and beverage expense and then food and beverage labor. Oh, I guess sometimes when I ask a question out loud, I answer my own question.
Let me try to answer some of these things.
Okay.
You're gonna see a lot of line items here.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years of trying to work out between my department and the golf guys, okay,
Uh-huh.
how they account for it. I think we finally got it identified how to budget for it and how to track the expenses. So if you see, there's 3 different areas that they really look at managing is, one is the golf operations, one is
Yeah.
gonna be the food and beverage, one is gonna be
Right.
maintenance. And I'll say equipment's the other one. So those are the main areas that they look at as they doing it. So a lot of these have zeros, and once we get through next year, all those zeros will go away. We'll have a much smaller, concise budget.
Okay. And those are all of those lines that you mentioned increased. And that's due to the management company increasing the,
Yeah, it's really about balance, matching things up so that we
Right.
can track things together. Forget about how we look at it, but how they look at it and how do we merge this to make it a clean budget.
okay. Okay, and my last question is on page 151. There are. That was your question also. I'm going to steal Councilwoman Riley's question. Can you just explain what we are anticipating and why there are, we have not encumbered or expended any money on this line thus far?
These
this
are
year?
for some of the improvements that we've done on the golf course.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just throwing out a number and I don't know the number off the top of my head. Say we've done $200,000 worth of repairs up there. Now, in the past, the first year, you don't have to pay any of that money back. The second year you do. So next year, we have to pay back $15,000 in principal and $29,000 in interest. One of the things you will see throughout this whole budget is interest numbers are going to be up across the board
Yeah, outrageous,
substantially.
right? Okay, thank you.
We do have a list of all the outstanding bonds in here as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
And so these payments should align to the bonds
Yes.
because
Well, in this case, this isn't a bond, this is a ban.
a
This is
ban.
like a renewable ban, but there's still, it still should be in there. And
Okay. And you don't know that page off the top of your
no,
no, total. But yeah, all of them are on the page, but I can't find it right now.
So we have gotten one price back on it, and one siding price. With the cost of lumber right now, could do the same deck, out of like concrete, almost like the baseball stadium has for the party deck. So they are reworking that price for us to make it a more permanent, less maintenance thing. So, in a perfect world, we'll get the siding done this fall and let them start going, hopefully in the spring on the deck. It's just been kind of a.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve move pages 148 through 153, 144. Let's not. $145. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to amend page 145 under the band section to add the following numbers. Principal $15,000, interest $29,627, with a total for total bands of $44,627. Yeah, so the total
Yeah.
total debt service will then change. I'll add to that amendment motion that total debt service total be changed to $49,890. 78,000 or 79,000, 79,000, right?
Yeah. 79,000. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll pull that motion back, so I'll make it clean again. So I'd like to make a motion to amend page 145. Under the bands section, I would like to insert a principal of $15,000, an interest of $29,627, with a total of $44,627. And then under total debt service, a principal of $49,890, an interest of $29,627, with a total debt service of $1,507.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move pages 145, 144, 145 amended, 6, 147, 8 through 153, and page 228, the city fee schedule.
Did we do 228?
No.
I don't think we did 228.
Hold on with that motion, Joe.
All right.
Let's look at page 228, please.
So if you look at page 228, the last line items there. You can see that we increased the price across the board a little bit on all the golf course fees. And I will say after a conversation with the people who are managing it, that we're getting a lot of usage and they feel that we could increase the price a little bit and get more revenue and not actually reduce the usage of it. When you compare us to what the course is like now and you compare it to other courses around here, they feel that we can get more revenue based off of the course condition and the usage that people want to use it.
Questions on page 228, please. Councilmember Riley.
Thank you for giving us that information, Mr. Shager. But if we were to go dollar opposed to course condition, but fee, would the average golfer that
I would still say we're lower than most courses that we're comparable to.
okay, that's where I was going. Thank you.
Other questions on page 228?
Mr. Chairman, motion will move pages 144, 145 is amended, 146 through 153, and page 228, the city fee schedule.
Second,
Second by Councilmember Riley. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Pat, thank you very much.
And I just wanted to say thank you to those of you who are doing the budget with me the last time for your support over the years. It is, been much appreciated.
You're not going anywhere, right?
I'm not, but I think some of you might be.
Retired. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Thank you. Let's open pages 137 through 143, 135, 136, 131 through 139 or 33. I'm sorry. Carl, how are you?
Good evening, all.
Tell us any significant changes in your budget, please.
There's only a couple changes. One to increase the amount that was allotted for salt, sand, and other, because this past year we have found that we needed much more than was originally anticipated from previous years. The Hawley Garage needs to be maintained with calcium chloride, which is much more expensive and has increased the need for that. The other is the preventative maintenance line, which a contract that was set up with Burr National Controls for an annual maintenance fee of the designated parking equipment that is that handles the pay station and monitoring of monthly parkers in the garages wasn't taken into consideration in last year's budget. And that's a $6,000 annual fee. Other than that, most everything is comparable to its previous years. A couple cuts were made, not much.
Thank you. Questions for Carl, please? Councilmember Friedman, please.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Hi, Carl. Thank you for being here. I am wondering, I'm on page 138 and I'm sorry if you just mentioned this and I missed it, but can you explain why the preventative maintenance has increased so much?
Preventative maintenance, well, 6,000 of it is for the preventative maintenance contract with on the equipment. Other preventative maintenance would be anything that's done to alleviate the hazardous conditions, things of that nature. They arise as they arise.
The $6,000, the biggest increase is the $6,000 Burr National contract. It's to do preventative maintenance on the gates and the card readers and the payment machines. That's the new cost there.
Right.
To make sure that all that equipment is maintained continually.
Okay, great. I think that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay.
Just to kind of follow up with that, I'm just curious. So is this, like, I get the whole preventative maintenance stuff,
Mhm.
but is this such an increase because of a new company, a different way of doing things? Because you've always had this maintenance, right? Or we just-
At the Holly Street, this is at the Holly Street ramp. So after the first year, we brought the maintenance into to keep it out because there's a lot of new equipment there. Mhm.
Makes it hard to do it.
Let's open, Carl, let's talk about page 225 and 226, please. Thank you.
Yes. In the rate structure, asking for $5 increase in monthly rates. It's a nominal amount. In years past, sometimes we let it go too many years and then make a large jump, which alarms people. The nominal amount to step annually is much more easily received by our customers.
Questions on, yeah, Councilmember Friedman. Please.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. So I know that there's a delicate line, like we were just talking about this with the golf fund, there's a delicate line to walk between making more money and decreasing usage by charging more money. And so I noticed that to park less than an hour in the garages cost $2. And that's significantly, or that's more expensive than it would cost to park on the street for that same amount. And it's a delicate balance, obviously we have to charge money to make money from the parking garages, but I wonder if this price differential discourages people from actually using the parking garages. And instead, I think that leads to this perception that there's always a shortage of parking because people are only looking at the on-street parking and they're not really considering using the parking ramp because they're saying, well, if I'm going to park for 10 minutes to run in somewhere, I don't want to pay $2 for that. Does that make sense? Like, I wonder if maybe we could think about adjusting them to encourage people to use the parking ramps rather than the on-street parking.
I'd like to make mention of the fact that we're sitting at 130% capacity at State Street. So I don't see the need, and 110% capacity at Hawley. So almost like a hotel that's overbooked. I don't want to get to the point where we're trying to encourage more people to park when we don't have the space. We're really sitting in a position of where the rate structure makes the most sense.
So how is it that we can be at 130% capacity?
I believe the meters best cover, or the base stations on the street cover the short-term parker easier than the garage because you can come and go quicker. So I don't believe that, it really deters people from using the garage hourly. Again, our capacity is at peak.
It's hard to hear you up here.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Overbook. Parking is unique in the fact that you have peak times with people coming and going, monthly parkers. We have a percentage of business and a percentage of overnight resident parkers. Most of the resident parkers are students. They leave, businesses come. So the overlap, by monitoring your peak hours, you can book. The national average is 15%. We're running 10 to 30%, which is a little higher than average because of the percentage we have of nighttime parkers, overtime parkers. It's quite high in comparison to most other cities in New York State. Syracuse, Rochester, Schenectady, Albany, they don't have the percentage of resident parkers that we have. I know this because we operate in those cities, and we'd make comparisons, and it's been brought to everyone's attention that we do run a high percentage of occupancy level, and that's the reason.
okay. Thank you.
Other questions for Carl?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Councilman Burns and I were talking about something. Carl, good evening. Thanks for being with us. I know with capacity utilization rates, usually good rates are somewhere between like 85 to 100%. We were just kind of wondering, as it relates to the specific context of the parking ramps in and of themselves, could you explain in a practical, real way what it means to have a capacity rate that's over 100%? Because some people might hear that and say, well, how can you be over 100%? I know it deals with utilization, but
okay, we have a 590 space parking garage at State Street. We have 820 monthly parkers.
Right.
we have approximately 30 empty spaces daily on the average. And that's okay. Luckily, if there's a snow emergency and students don't have class, fortunately, many of the business community doesn't come to work. So we haven't ever had a position where we weren't able to park everybody. But we're right on that edge of where it's as good as we can get. The Holly Garage is increasing. I believe it'll get to about 20% beyond. It's becoming more popular for people, and there's things developing in that area now because of change of businesses. Some moving into the proximity of the Holly Garage that used to be at State. It's ever changing, and we keep a good finger on that aspect of it.
Thank you, Carl.
Other questions for Carl?
Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move pages 130 through 139, 140 through 143, and 225 and 226.
And the second, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Carl. We're all set. Let's move in.
Thank you all.
Yep, thank you. Move to Dr. Berlin, please. Let's open pages 80, 95, 96, 101, 102, and 214 or 24, I'm sorry. Welcome, Dr. Berlin.
Hi. How is everyone?
Also need significant changes in your budget, please.
Oh, did you have anything in mind you wanted? No, there haven't been a lot of changes. There's been a few, but nothing major. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said there've been some changes to the budget. Let's see. Well, in terms of our personnel services, our housing safety specialist position is currently not funded. Part of that funding is being used to create a joint position with the county. Let's see. The vacant property officer position is being considered to relocate to code enforcement. Right, you can see where it says contractual, there's 25,000 there. That's what we're looking for the putting toward the position. Sorry, this is cutting out.
Julia, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, this joint position with the county, it's a kind of a case manager position that is going to be overseeing the city and county. It's kind of a liaison position. It was going to be, hopefully I wanted it to be seated here at the city, but it's going to be seated with the city working for social services kind of in an overview level.
Basically, Juliet, from what I understand, it's like a DSS employee that
Correct.
works in the city of Binghamton that we're going to pay to get a little bit more support of them within the city.
Right.
And that person will have a conversation with the mayor and Juliet on a regular basis to make sure things that aren't getting done or they have concerns about, will have a person to reach out to.
Right.
Thank you, Chair Scanlon. Just as an update, now we will, I'm sure, the position has already been approved. And so we'll learn more to come, right?
Yep.
And so this will be a higher, almost not a manager, will they continue to see clients or will they be more like a higher level that will serve as the liaison overseeing the caseloads in DSS?
Yeah, my understanding was the title of it is a case aid, but it's actually going to be more of an oversight position, not believe working directly with customers. No.
Okay. And so it's not a city employee. We're just sharing it. It will still be a
Yes.
county employee. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Our direct line, somebody we can go
Help us
to.
with the full realm of DSS cases, not housing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Hello, Dr. Burling.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
All right, I've got a couple of questions for you. So I'm looking on page 101 right now under personal services.
Mhm.
So across the board, most positions I have noticed have gone up, but the historic preservation and neighborhood planner 2 position appears to have decreased in salary. Can you
Yeah, that's
shed
good.
light on that?
Our previous historic preservation planner, Sean McGee, had more experience and he left, actually took a position in San Francisco. So we hired a new planner at a lower rate,
Okay.
slightly lower. And also he is not working 8 hours. Sean had been switched to an 8-hour schedule.
Oh, okay. All right. Can you, on the same page, can you explain what city identification equipment is?
Yeah, that's identifiable clothing with the city logo on it,
Oh.
jackets, hats. We had an incident where some of my staff were referred to as scoundrels because they couldn't see their ID and people became alarmed. So
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that that
Mhm.
happened. Okay, on this same page further down, under the professional services line, can you please remind me why we have expended $53,000 in that line when last year there was 3,500 allocated and this year we're proposing 2,500?
We had some money. I can't remember exactly where it came from.
I know we were using it for historic updating.
No, we used it for something else, but
Yeah.
it was, I can't remember what it was, but there was an RL we did earlier this year that we had that $53,000 and we moved it into that line.
Right,
as
and I
to
can't
be used as
remember those.
professional services. I have to get it for you and I'll let you know what it was for.
Okay, yeah, and I did, Um. All right, so I'm on the next page. And so page 102. And I've noticed that our dues and memberships not only have gone up, but there are like almost triple the number of dues and memberships. Can you explain
Yep.
that, please?
Absolutely. The American Planning Association membership, the first line, there's 2 at 300. That's for our historic planner and our city planner. The APA memberships that are higher are for Tito and myself. It's the membership fee is based on years' experience, so it increases in cost. The New York State Planning Federation membership is an educational membership for our commissioners. So by paying 300 for the year, they're open to educational sessions. So it covers all the members for zoning, planning, and COD to attend sessions. The National Alliance for Preservation Commissioners is a new membership that I signed up. Dylan Pelton, our new historic preservation planner. So this is a specific alliance that deals with preservation commissions and it's been very helpful. And it's an excellent way to provide education as well. Each commissioner is required, I think, to earn it's 5 to 10 CEUs per year. The newspaper.com is a online subscription that opens research potential to everything basically ever published. And we use that for finding information on our cases for historic preservation. Occasionally, it's very difficult to find older obscure documents. And then I guess that's it.
Yeah. Well, and
So-
the Press and Sun Bulletin
Mhm.
is new as well this year.
No, we've always had that in there. We need to verify that our ads have been posted for public noticing.
Was that somewhere else in last year's budget or it was
I
always?
don't think so, no.
Right.
Right.
Okay. I'm not seeing it here, but I guess it was somewhere
We
else.
should amend that and take the news part of it out of that, but
They do their best.
I think that was maybe my only question. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
I don't. Thank you, Mr. President. Doctor, in the personal services, page 101, it's a housing safety specialist,
Mhm.
but it's no one there. It's empty. Why is that?
Yep, that was a position that was initially funded through Cities Rise for 2 years, and then the city picked it up for 1 year last year. And that, the person that held that position actually has taken a position in Owego. So we haven't filled the position, and the funding for that position is being used to help fund the joint position with the county
Yeah,
that takes on a lot of the similar,
yeah.
some of the similar roles, right?
Just the housing safety specialist, it
Yeah.
sounds like someone that we need. I mean, who takes up that?
Um, well, right now, when we have calls for, we're still doing the work in the office.
Mhm.
We have calls that come in requesting information on case history to take to court. When we have calls regarding housing concerns or safety issues, either our vacant property officer will go and check, or we'll work with code to check. So the work is still going on. For now, it'll not as detailed as they had been, but.
Thank you.
Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Let's see.
This is your.
Yep. The housing coordinator position, the individual that held that position, retired and has come back half-time until we can, have that position refilled. So it is, currently listed as vacant, but we have a couple of people who are interested in, so. And that's a position that manages our rehab programs for low moderate income individuals, and the work is still going on, so. Let's see.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move pages 80, 95, 96, 101 through 103, and 224.
Aye.
You're welcome, thank you.
Good evening. There really aren't any significant changes. It's pretty much last year's budget. There's nothing really that would stand out.
We got this page.
No. Yeah. Is there any questions on there? You want me to go through all of them? They're just our typical yearly projects. I don't think there's anything new there.
There is a couple things new on there, Ron, just that.
Oh.
There's a Court Street, Tompkins Street, pump station that's gonna be redone.
Right.
Okay, that's an important one. That causes part of the flooding. Court Street, the Brandywine, Henry Street, okay?
That's a big one.
It is, the system there, when they built the pump station, the way the pumps are installed, most of the pipe is submerged.
Yeah.
So only the top part of the pipe flows, and that's why it backs up on Henry and backs way on up.
Right.
Now, I'm looking at how we can get a difference in there, and so there's a couple things that we're thinking about, and we may have to just drill through the floor of that existing station and put a pump down lower. But it's a very difficult situation. And we have another one over by McDonald Avenue, which is the same way, and it backs up over there.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was just about to say along the river bend over there.
Yeah, I don't understand why they were put together that way, but they were, and we're gonna try to fix it.
Councilmember Freeman had a question?
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Hello, Ron. Thank you for being here. All right, I'm looking at page 31. Both the professional services and technical services lines have decreased, actually. Can you tell us a little more about that, please?
Let me see. Yeah, they decreased a little bit because the last couple of years, I don't think we've used as much of that technical service as we had allocated. And I think that with a reduction, we still have enough to take care of what we usually do.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Lake? Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. On the professional services, it says that we've encumbered thus far this year $26,000 of the $27,000 allocated. But then for 2024, we're only proposing $17,000.
We're going back to what it was for 23.
Okay.
All right.
And you don't foresee that we'll over or need to transfer funds back
No.
into that line? Okay.
Not unless something happens as it did this year, but
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Lake?
Mr. Chairman, make a
Yes.
motion to move pages 30, 31, and the engineering section of page 219.
Seconded by Councilwoman Rossetti. All in favor?
Thanks, Sean.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Mr. Lake.
thank you.
We'll go on to the mayor's office with Megan. Let's open page 16, 17, 47, 90, and 91. Hi, Megan.
Hello, Councilman. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. If I could, I know we've closed the pages, but on Dr. Billing's budget, the DSS caseworker, Councilman Burns asked a question. That position will be focused on housing, and serving residents in the city of Binghamton. That was your question, Councilwoman, but Councilman Burns' question was, what about the housing safety specialist? That DSS caseworker, the hope is they'll essentially be doing that work, but with just more access to the DSS services. So just to clarify.
Thank you.
Okay. 16, 17. Okay. So not too many changes here. We have one title change, which is for my position. We're looking to change that officially to deputy mayor, from the executive assistant to the mayor, which it has been in the budget. And I appreciate the support council's already given and voiced on that. We're increasing the the line for gas and heat at the BARDA Center. That's just based on general rising costs. Same for travel and training. That's a slight increase. Promotions and marketing is going down slightly. The one thing I would note is the youth programming line on page 17. That's zeroed out. In the past, that's gone to the CARES backpack program. We're just essentially moving that funding to come solely from community development block grant funding, and have actually increased the amount going to that program for next year. It's just coming out of a different line.
Questions, for Megan on page 16 and 17?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Hey, Megan, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
This, it's tied, it's not in budget question. It's good that we're updating the title. This might be a corp council question, but anywhere in the city charter, where that title change also needs to occur, I'm assuming that's probably a separate RL that we're going to need to.
So after, when we're done with the budget, we usually bring down all the charter changes.
Yep.
That the budget needs. to make.
Implements. Excellent.
Yep, so
Awesome.
you will see that in November.
Great. Thank you. I just want to double check on
Yep.
that. Thank
Based
you
on
very much.
what you guys approved.
Yeah, I mean, I support it, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I just for technically like
Yeah.
process. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Hello, Deputy Mayor. How are
Hi,
you?
Councilmember. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
So I'm looking on page 16 under the professional services line. We spent almost $80,000 and we've only proposed $1,000. I don't know off the top of my, I don't remember if there was an RL for that, but can you shed light on that line, please?
That would be the performance. Yes. I believe so. Yeah, I was looking at that earlier too, because we had budgeted last year just for $1,000, which is what we're looking to do again this year. The money expended, I think Lori's checking right now, but we think it was for the energy performance contract. But I will let Lori confirm. I believe we came down recently to council.
For the money last fall. Covered, carried over to the. Yeah, but
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. So I'm on page 17 now. And I noticed that there was a significant decrease in the promotions and marketing line. I mean, I guess we haven't spent that much on it thus far this year, but can you explain that decrease, please?
Sure. I think that was just probably an area where we were looking to cut costs.
Mhm.
As you said, we haven't spent what we've budgeted last year. That typically goes to support, like this year, it's gone to support a community building series we have with the Chamber of Commerce. In past years, it's supported some programming out of NOMA, but we haven't spent it down to date. So just a cost savings measure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Page 47 is just our annual dues and memberships. It's increasing this year because the memberships, I think the US Conference of Mayors specifically is increasing. I will do 91 first, if that's okay. Celebrations. We are requesting the same amount as last year. This has gone to different community events. One example is the Pride Coalition fireworks sponsorship. What was one from this year, but we're keeping that budget line the same. Hello.
Library?
Yes, actually, I was saving that one for last. Josiah Bartram, who is the executive director of the library, is here tonight. So he's agreed to come down and speak to council and help answer any questions. Come down.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you. So we wanted the opportunity to speak to you directly. I think that sometimes the funding that the library receives from the city, it can feel like it's taken for granted. And so I wanted to start by acknowledging the city as our second largest funder after the county. And we would like to participate in this process as much as you want to have us going forward. I think that as you see, looking at your budget, it's a significant amount of money, and I would love to answer any questions that you have about how it's used. And Joanne Hanrahan, who's the president of our board, has handed out a copy of our 2022 annual report and our county budget. The 2024 budget that's in there has not been approved by the county yet, but that's what we put into the county executive's budget. And that process ends in November. So that, as far as we know right now, that's what we'll be operating on. And so again, and primarily I wanted to thank you, but I also wanted to see if there were any questions that I can answer. I'd be happy to speak about some of what we're doing as far as programs go, some of the changes that we're making. I did highlight 2 lines in revenue on there. One is the one that says other local government. That's what the city contribution looks like in our budget. And then the other one is the county funding. For this year, the amount that the county has, let me step back for a second. So for those of you who don't know, our library was originally the Binghamton Public Library, and that's the history that's behind this. And in the 1980s, when an agreement was made with the county to take over operation of the library, there was an agreement that the city would continue to contribute funding to it. So that's the history that's behind this. That funding amount is based on a contract, and the contract is tied to the CPI each year. So if you look at the revenue, the percentage amount that the county funding is going up for 2024 is more than that CPI amount that the city bill is going to be. So that was the point that I wanted to make by putting that in there. Some of the things that we are adding in this budget, we're adding a full-time custodial supervisor position. We are adding 18 hours of clerk time for the local history department up on the 2nd floor. And we are adding a full-time library assistant for the children's department, which is, the children's department is one of the most widely used parts of the library. And that's going to allow us to continue to serve the community, work on literacy, work on programs. The we are very active. We are back to the levels of activity that we were before COVID, but we are not checking out as many books. So we have people coming in for different reasons, and it's for all of the programs that we are running. And I included my business card with that packet too. And I would love, a couple of you have been over for tours. I would love to show any of you who want to see what it is that we're doing in person. We also have a lot of programs now that are running with grant funding. So we are going to private foundations to supplement this as well. And do you all have any questions for me that I might be able to answer?
Yes, I'll start out. Thank you for coming here, by the way, and thank you, Joanne, for coming here. So the contract with the city, is there a time frame on a contract? It's gonna end at a certain year? Is it never ending? Can you explain that to us, please?
My understanding so I've not spoken to the county attorney about this. My understanding just from reading the text of the contract, and I would be happy to share it with any of you who want to see it. It sounds like it's open-ended to me.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought. I will take you up on that tour, by the way. And does anybody have other questions? Councilmember Freeman, please.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I was fortunate enough to be able to take a tour. It was quite lovely. And one of the things that stuck with me on the tour was, I don't remember who mentioned that the libraries nowadays offer a lot of human services, things like there's a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness who come in and just kind of relax or use the facilities. So I'm wondering if you could highlight for us some of those services that the library offers that one wouldn't maybe associate with a library.
Absolutely. And that's very true. And it's true across the country at especially urban public libraries based in neighborhoods where there is a large homeless population. And we're a friendly, welcoming space and our doors are open. And it's climate controlled. And that's one of the biggest functions that we're serving right now. So a lot of this is running through our peer support partnership with Catholic Charities. We have a room dedicated to providing services. And so it's both a space for people to spend time and a way to get connected to services. That's funded primarily through a grant from the Clee Foundation. And that's a program that the library staff and Catholic Charities is going to be presenting at the New York Library Association Conference in Saratoga Springs in November. And I expect it to get a lot of interest from other libraries in the state. I think that it's a really innovative model and I'm proud of it. Some other examples of that, we have a farm to library program that's new this year where we're giving away fresh produce. There's a cooler next to the circulation desk and it's not tied to income or need. It's just fresh produce for anyone who wants it with information about how to prepare it. And we saw a lot of families coming in for our summer reading program this year, which is it is our biggest program. And there was a lot of kids coming in and grabbing carrots or apples out of the fridge. And so that's been really fantastic. And it's something that we're going to continue over the winter. We're purchasing produce from Lone Maple Farm and they grow hydroponically over the winter. So we're going to continue to do that. We also have people bringing donations into the fridge as well as what we're purchasing from Lone Maple Farm. And the last one I'll mention is the partnership. You can see partnerships is kind of the theme here. We're doing this all through partnerships. This is a partnership with the County Public Defender's Office to Period Pantry at the library. So that is a shelf of period products in our rotunda that they are stocking. And again, that's just there for anyone who needs it to help themselves too.
Other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thanks, Josiah, for coming. Can you take just a minute or two and kind of talk about, I know there's obviously a lot of city residents like Joanne Hanrahan, who serves as the president of the Friends of the Broome County Public Library, maybe just some of the things that they do, the activities and how that positively impacts the library and the community, things like that.
Sure. Yeah, so we have a fantastic group of volunteers through the Friends of the Library. And the Friends of the Library, it's a lot like the PTA for a school is how I tend to explain it. So it's a separate nonprofit, but Joanne Hanrahan is the president of both the library board and the Friends of the Library. So they're very closely aligned. And they do several things. They run book sales out of the library, and that raises revenue for a lot of these programs, especially children's programs, but other things as well. And that also is just really popular in the community. So the book sales draw a lot of volunteers who set them up. Many of them are retired, and this is one of their main ways of being out in the community socializing. And then it draws a huge number of people to purchase the books. Everything is donated through the library. People bring it in and donate it at the library, and it's a volume of donations, which is hard to keep up with. I believe they have 16 sales planned next year. 16, which is more than ever before. And they now have a dedicated space in the library with bookshelves that were built by the Broome Tioga BOCES carpentry students at just the cost of materials. And it's a beautiful room. You might hear Joanne on the Bob Joseph show promoting this. I think she was on there this morning because this is the book sale week. So if you want to check it out, this is a good time to come down and see that. They also volunteer in all sorts of other ways. So it's the Friends of the Library who are going and picking up produce from the farm and bringing it back for our Farm to Library program. They do a lot to support library staff. They fund our staff development day, and it's just generally they support us, and it's something that I think benefits the people who are involved and really benefits the community as well. Did I answer your question?
Thank you, Joseph, and thank you, Joanne, and all the city residents who work.
Thank you. Yeah, please do.
Thank you very
Happy to
much.
come back anytime.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep moving here. We're behind schedule. So let's welcome Josh Paludi down here. We'll open. Sorry.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman,
sorry. Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to move pages 16 and 17, 47, 90, and 91 forward.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, let's bring Josh in now. Thank you. Open 34, 35, 36, 37 through 39, 41, 70, 40, 41, 72, 73, 74, 75, 97, and 218.
Before,
Josh. Give us the highlights of your budget. What's changed significantly?
President Scanlon, before we get started,
Yep.
let me try to clear up something that you guys may be confused on. We have DPW and we had a refuse fund, okay? I could not find it because the refuse fund was being funded with tax dollars through transfers. I really should have found a way to put those tax dollars over into the refuse fund. I could not. Okay, and put it on a tax bill and all that to make it look very clear. Okay. It's a question that I get brought up every year by the state. So what we did is we moved back all the collection part of the refuse fund, which is the trucking, the labor, from the refuse fund to the general fund. And the refuse fund is just a fund now to collect all the cost of disposal, cost of recycling, the cost of landfills, the cost of blue bags, things of that nature. So as you go through that, think of the general fund is paying for all the collection side of it. The refuse fund is paying for all the disposal side.
Everyone clear on that?
Josh, cheers.
Thanks, Josh. Go ahead.
My basic budget, not much has really changed. It's up and down due to the rising costs of everything in the world right now. Oil up, all kinds of parts up, materials up.
So let's question for Josh on, so I guess we'll look at why don't you go over 218, Josh, please. So we're covered with this section.
Josh's first page is on 34.
Yep.
And that page is up about $8,000 and it's all attributed to the Teamsters contract for the
Okay.
labor.
Yep. Councilmember Friedman?
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Thank you, City Clerk. Hi, Josh. Thank you so much for being here. I am looking at the travel and training line on page 34, and I noticed that we haven't spent that much of it. Are we expecting to spend that entire amount by the end of the year?
Yeah, we usually do our trainings towards the end of the year when the streets work is less. The guys have time to go do the trainings.
Okay, that makes sense. And okay, sorry. Okay, so on that page, I'm looking at the personal services, and so I see the salary adjustment for DPW commissioner with PE license is zeroed out. Can you tell me about that line, please?
That has been there for, I would say, 12 to 15 years.
Okay,
If we ever hire a DPW commissioner with a PE license, we would increase his salary because he has that license, or she.
right.
So we've just left that there for the option, but it is zero because our commissioner does not have a PE.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I brought last year's budget. I see that's zeroed out. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so on the next page, on page 35, I'm gonna ask you the same question that I asked somebody else. I see there's a retention stipend. Who's eligible for that?
Teamsters blue collar.
Same thing, those
Yep.
who have been here for at least 1 year since.
Yep, October 1st, I think, of the prior year. to June
They gotta
30th.
be here for 9 months as of the end of June.
Okay,
And that is contractual.
okay. All right, thank you. And then on page 36, there are a few lines that appear to have significant differences. So first, technical services is zeroed out, and energy monitoring contract is also zeroed out.
Councilwoman Freeman, we took the technical service line in the energy monitoring contract and moved that down into the building equipment improvement.
That you said that was the technical services?
Yes, see how that was 30,000?
Yeah,
And then you had another energy monitoring contract, which is 20,000, which is a maintenance contract.
okay. And where did you say that moved to?
Right below that, building equipment improvement and maintenance.
You'll see the last detail
Oh.
line.
Yes.
So you take the 30 and the 20, that's 50,000. That's pretty much what we're up.
So that's that last line, HVAC
Yes.
maintenance? Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you. And then the court improvements line has increased.
That's based on what the courts decide that they want work done in their facility upstairs. They reimburse us for that. We just budget for what they anticipate the work to be, and there's an offsetting revenue.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so on page 37, there are a bunch of different lines that say they're moved from CL fund. Can you explain why that was?
That's what I was mentioning when we started, that we
Okay.
moved a lot of the collection stuff from the CL fund into the A fund. So in this
Okay.
case, central garage, you'll see that we moved 2 general equipment mechanics that were in the CL fund. They're now in the general fund.
Okay,
That's why you'll see most of the increases here.
okay. Okay, now on page 38, there's under tools, one of the lines is personal tool allowance. Can you explain how that is?
That's contractual under the Teamsters contract.
Okay, and so is that like it's up to each person, what
It's the
tools they
position
want to,
hold. It's the position they hold. I think it's like a mechanic, right?
They're the
Yes,
mechanic.
mechanics.
So they get personal, we pay them to get their personal tools to do their work.
okay, and is that, like, what's the word I'm looking, not managed, but it's just up to them, whatever they decide that they
Yes,
want and need.
what they feel they need, yes.
Okay. All right, now on page 39, the travel and training line is zeroed out. Can you explain that, please?
As of right now, they're not really traveling or doing any training as of yet. They just did trainings not too long ago. They're all up to where they need to be.
Okay, and in the future, what kind of training might that entail?
Just basic mechanics training. We have some specialty equipment. Sometimes they get specialty training on like a sweeper or certain vehicles that we have.
Okay. All right, thank you. We opened all of these pages or just the general fund ones? Okay. Okay, sorry, that might be all my questions for right now.
Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to amend the DPW section of page 218 to add a line for $37,000 for the purposes of instruction materials. Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, other questions for Josh? Up to, from started 34 up to 218. Seeing none,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move pages 34 through 41, 72 through 75, 97, and 218 as amended.
need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Josh, now we're on to the refuge fund. Let's open page 120, 122, 123 through 129, 119, 121, 118, and 223. Josh, tell us about these pages. Anything significant changes here that we need to know about? Are you okay?
Nothing significant, just pretty cut and dry.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. So on page 122, the personal services line is zeroed out.
That's, we moved all those people back to the general fund.
Okay, so that's also.
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
The one big item on here is the DPW administration services. When we
I
get
was
all
just
said
gonna
and
say.
done calculating what the disposal cost was, there's 170,000 left from the sale of the bags. That's going back to offset the cost of what it takes for the administrative side of it for Josh's department. That's a revenue item on the general fund.
and so all of the other lines that are zeroed out, those are also going back to the general fund?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Other questions for Josh?
President Scanlon, I think you need to go back to page 119 so I can clarify something here.
All right, let's open page 119, please.
Refuse and garbage charges are 1.5 million, almost 1,490. That's the sale of the blue bags. There is an increase in the blue bags, which you'll see on the fee schedule. But the difference between that 1,490 and all the expenses of disposal, that 170,000 is what's going back. Just to help you understand it.
Can you say that again?
If you look on page 119, it's 1,490,000 is what we're gonna sell in blue bags that we're gonna get revenue from. And the total expenses are basically 1,300,000. Okay, that difference of 170,000 is going back to the general fund to help offset the administration cost that's not included here.
Thank you. All right, questions for Josh on 120, 122 through 129, 119, 121, 118, and 223. Let's look at 223, please. In fact, you said the blue bags are, you didn't say decreasing.
No, they're not decreasing.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
I can't remember what the actual price increase is on them. So the large bags are going from $1.64 to $1.90, and the medium bags are going from $1.04 to $1.20.
Questions on page 223 for Josh.
I have a question,
Yes. Councilman
but this has to do with the bags. Did we ever get on Amazon, they were selling them, but they were selling very high. And did we ever get that corrected somehow?
We have not been able to get that totally rectified. I believe they're still selling them on Amazon, but it's not, you're still better off getting them locally.
Right. Thank you.
Still working on it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, were we, or any insight into getting the medium size bags on Amazon? Because they only have the large in bulk on Amazon. I mean, that's a great step forward, but I didn't know if there was any discussions about that or anything like that.
The deputy mayor's mostly been handling that, so I'd rather let her answer that.
I'll follow up with her. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Other questions for Josh?
Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move just 118 through 129 and page 223 forward.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Josh, I think you're clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh.
Mr. Kruger, you're the last. Step up, will you? Thanks for coming. All right, let's open pages. 159, 161 through 160 through 176, 218, 177, 157, 158, 160, 155, 156, and 154. A lot of pages. All right, Jeff, tell us what's changed significantly in your budget.
Hey, any questions on unallocated insurance? He's the man for that. We'll play that. Let's see, contractual raises for pay. Nothing untoward in that area. Our fees that we're paying throughout different departments have been adjusted, and they've been adjusted pretty tight, and you can see just from the ebb and flow of the prices. So one thing you can say that the budget is being adjusted with a very critical eye. Yeah. Professional services, we removed a large fee out of that. I paid for it in a different way for the next 2 years instead of going through professional services, so at least 2 years of relief to the budget of about $30,000. It's a contract from the company that sells most of the electronic monitoring at the water filtration plant, because we have continuous monitoring of all the water that goes through the plant at all times. The work on that is done by the company that supplies the gear, instead of having our guys do it. It helps with some of our regulatory agencies, inquiries and things like that. So that'd be the big step down in price, from year to year on the, professional services line for 8310.
Questions for Mr. Kruger? A lot of pages here. Take your time.
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So because we are now allocating a little more to the company that is providing another service, we should see a bump in that line. Can you tell me what line that is? Since we're not using the testing under professional services, we should see a minor increase in another, right? Based upon increasing the contract of another.
What happened was, the contract ran out about half the year. I was in the middle of waiting to make sure that they didn't, this company likes to come out with new updated equipment quite often. I wanted to make sure nothing was in the works, so I had to wait till a little bit later in the year. We just made a purchase of brand new turbidity meters that go through each filter, and some other updated gear. During that purchase, I also had 2 years of the contract paid at the same time. So that's why that changes like that. So you won't see it, but for the next 2 years, it'll be 20,000 less that we have to put in the budget.
Perfect, but then the council members that remain should just know that we'll see in 2 years, unless you're able to negotiate another contract as such.
Well, I had to buy a bunch of equipment.
Right.
And I don't want to have to do that every 2 years.
Okay, well, just be aware, those of you that will be around, that will be it.
No problem. Rest 8310. I see postage has gone up. I'm sure they know something I don't.
You'll see that postage going throughout the city that the rates have gone up, so. And there's a certified mail now for water. We have to do things a little bit different. That
Page 163, FX 8330. The adjustment is that, yeah. Minor adjustments back and forth. Overtime has gone up a little bit. Equipment line, general blanket. The big one is going to be the chemical line. Right now, chemicals have been staying fairly steady from all of our suppliers. But they have, in the past couple of years, been constantly going up on us. Just what the market's holding. There's not a lot we can do about it. And some of these chemicals are regulated by state and federal rules that we can't really change them. We have to stick with the type we're using without months of testing and proving that the other chemical is any better. But it's kind of where we're stuck in a few ways on what we have and where we get it from. Everything that can go out the contract does go out the contract. And yeah, we're doing the best we can in a tough market.
there will be an RL coming down for the rest of this year that Jeff has asked me to try to find some money, and we're still looking.
There is that. I wanted it to be a surprise. Uniforms contractual, protective clothing contractual, allowance contractual. Gas heats, that's where it's trended. Electricity, we held the line. Elevator repairs contractual. Our HVAC, we've been using Hostler and Jaeger off of the county contract. We've gotten pretty good service and fairly good pricing from them. Wastewater fee is what we pay for our waste product that goes to a treatment plant. That's just paced out with what we paid so far this year and how we reflect next year's budget. Travel and training.
Jeff, stop. When Jeff says that's what goes to the wastewater treatment plant, He's only talking about his treatment of water, not talking about sewage. Just the water side of it. Yeah.
Travel and training, over 75% of my staff have professional licenses. And the travel and training budget is used for continuing education that they must do each year to maintain their licenses. $165, FX 8340. Back to contractual changes. Overtime's a little higher, but not by much. Yeah. Vehicle parts have continued to go up. Meter parts, everything's the same. Staying pretty solid. Instructional materials went way down. Looking at the budget in the past, we don't need that amount of money front loaded in the budget. So we don't need it January 1st. We're not going to spend $100,000. My thought was to put more of this into the cap line. And then we can piece it out. However, it has to happen throughout the year. It gives Chuck a little more flexibility with what he's doing to keep our budget balanced. And it didn't need to be in the front of the budget like that. Just did. So. Uniform, clothing, professional services. We're at 2,500, dropping a little bit. I'm hoping to see that continue to decrease. Professional services. Our skills at leak detection are getting a little bit better. We're getting a little bit better with the gear that we have. Pretty fancy setup, and they triangulate and look for noise, and there's a lot that they do with it. But they're getting better at it. It's a tough skill to learn. And then I think we also bought a set of divining rods just in case everything else went wrong. There's the maintenance, again, travel and training. We use that constantly. State retirement, not yet. And that's a Chuck question, if you have any questions about that line. Same with most of the rest of it. Blame Chuck. That's our motto.
Yeah, you have a question? No, yeah, you're fine. Yeah. Go ahead if you're ready for one. Yes.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. But because we're the same person, Councilwoman Riley, don't you know?
I made one mistake. Let it go.
One mistake tonight.
Exactly.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for your patience and sticking it out.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I was holding all my questions in, so if we could go back, that
Sure.
would be
Tell me where
great.
you're at.
Okay, I'm on page 161 or wait, start. Yeah, I'm on page 161.
Okay.
Can you explain why the equipment line is zeroed out, please?
Bought him a copier, so he did not need the money next year.
Okay, great.
That's it. That's easy.
Okay. And there were some lines that went down, the collection service and the engineering services.
It's all based off of this different labor in each of the different departments that contribute to it. It's like the formula that we have.
Okay. All right. Okay, on page 162, the hardware software maintenance line is also zeroed out.
It was for a plan that never came to fruition.
Okay. even though we spent money out of this line in 2023.
Transferred money out of there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, on page 163, I noticed that the Sunday bonus is new. What is the Sunday bonus?
We
Okay.
brought an RL down a little while ago. Jeff's been short some people and filling the shift on Sunday afternoon was very difficult to get. So to incentivize people to do it, we put in a $65 to work on that Sunday on top of what they would normally get paid plus their overtime. Same thing that we do on a call out during the winter. We use that same mentality to this. Hopefully Jeff gets the 2 people he needs and this goes away, but
Okay. Thank you for jogging my memory. Okay, I think that is. Oh, wait, no, I do have another question. On page 165. Okay, so again, forgive me if this is something that we did and I forgot, but I noticed that there's no laborer position. There was in the budget last year, and then this year there's no laborer position.
That position would change to water system
Okay,
maintenance helper. So all that
Oh.
were laborers are now water sewer system maintenance helpers.
we did that like in April. We had an RL that came down here with you
Okay.
to change all those titles.
okay, sorry. When I was looking over this, I was comparing it to last year's budget, so I'm sorry if there's like RLs that I don't remember. Okay, and I think those are all of my questions on the pages we've gone over so far. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move pages 154 through 177 in the water section of 218 forward, please.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Jeff, so we're on to,
Did we do 218? Did you approve that?
let's go back and go over 218, I'm sorry.
Can review it.
Did we review 218? I don't think we did.
Wait,
did we?
water section of page 218.
Anybody have a question on page 218 for Jeff?
These are all the basic water items that he has as capital expenses that we move to the capital fund each year, depending on how much you use, so that we're not just spending money. So it's a total, I think, $200,000 altogether.
Any questions? I'm sorry, Councilmember.
Thank you,
Freeman.
Chairman Scanlon. So in this, on page 218, there's a hardware software line for $5,000, but the other one, the maintenance line was zeroed out. Can you explain what's going on there?
This is for SCADA system, the computer system that runs the plant. I keep the fund rolling each year. So when changes have to take place, we have money available.
And so this doesn't require any money in the hardware software
Not that.
maintenance line?
Not
Okay,
that.
okay. Thank you.
On page 155 are the rates, which are the same as last year. No change. 156 are the different bonds associated with the water fund and the bands. 157, 158 are what we project to be revenues. There's no increase in rates for the water fund next year.
Okay, first page is all Chuck. Page 186. Personal services, we increased the dispatcher. What we do is we pay for a part salary out of water and sewer for the DPW dispatcher. Our calls tend to be very long periods of time where they're stuck in the office for us. They provide support with phone calls, getting people into and all of those different services. We've only been paying a quarter. We talked about it a little bit. We've upped that to now half of the salary between water and sewer to cover that position. That's the increase you see there. Rest of it, same idea, with the fees, the different fees we pay back to the city. It's equal with water and sewer. It's the sewer side of those charges. Like Chuck told you, the secret formula. So. No real, yeah.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. So on page 186, there are some services that have gone down, which again, we love to see it, but can you explain? I'm looking at the collection service, the engineering services, and the water services all decrease.
That's all based off of a calculation, like engineering costs are down, so these numbers reduced a little bit. The collection service would be same with the treasurer's office.
Okay. That's all I have so far. Thank you.
Page 187 is EFC. A lot of numbers there. Chuck may know what they mean. Equipment repairs and maintenance, sewer administrator and office 0, postage, once again, the upswing on that cost. The up on personal services is contractual. The retention stipend, you heard about that a few times. Overtime, again, we've been trending a little bit higher on overtime. And that can change from year to year, depending on what's going on, what's broken, where the people are, what they're trying to do. Don't have a lot of control over that. We have to be there when we have to be there. Equipment line, tightened it up a little bit. Same with contractual. General operating supplies went up a little bit. We're trending it out, seeing where the spending's going, making the adjustments. And these are a lot of small adjustments. Yeah, some fuel, lubricants. We had to up that a little bit. We know that we have a couple of barrels of synthetic lubricants that we have to buy, so we know we're gonna be spending a little bit more in the line this year. Buildings and grounds went down a little bit. Construction materials on the sewer side. We went down a little bit based on what we spent. Chemicals, we upped, we know we have to order more than we did. It's pretty much every other year for chemicals, and a lot of that is the Route X. It takes tree roots out of sewer lines, which is a common problem for a lot of our constituents throughout the city. Uniform clothing, it's all contractual. Gas, we don't cover all the sewer side. Electricity, there are over 30 lift stations throughout the city, keeping the water flowing away from people's homes most of the time. Vehicle repairs, where it's at. We have a few more. Fall. The sewage treatment plant, there's a line there that has numbers. The project's over and done with. State retirement line. That's Social Security. Project. Rhode Island, that's all done. Page 197 is health insurance for current members and retirees.
You know, I didn't mention this on when we were doing the other forms, but what you're gonna see is we broke out the health insurance between active employees and retirees. I'm not gonna say it's perfect. I try to do the best I could, but I think it's important for everyone to see what we spent on health insurance for active employees as well as retirees.
Sadly, salary adjustments, that's a lot of zeros there. Serial bonds. A lot of stuff there. Ban information on principals and interest. Make it to page 218. Suicide, no.
$218, same situation, it's $358,000 of capital items they use on a yearly basis.
I sure do, Chairman Scanlon. Thank you. I never don't have questions. I lost my. Oh, okay. So my first question is on page 187. I don't know if I'm being too nitpicky here, but the postage says mailing water/sewer bills, but this is in the sewer section. Is that a duplication? Or this
No,
is just specifically for
it's-
sewer?
The
bill.
sewer bills are based off your water bill.
Right,
So the water meter is how we gain revenue from sewer.
right.
So it's only fair that they share in the heartache and cost of the mailing for the benefit of both departments.
Okay,
It's shared between, so if we have $100 bill, some of it goes to water, some of it goes to sewer.
right, okay. So on page 189, you mentioned that the chemicals are every other year. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Rudex, which is the basis of most of that cost. You get a better discount price if you can buy in bulk. This year, we need it again. So buying larger quantities for better pricing.
Okay. And they don't go bad? Okay. Um. Okay, so my next question is on page 197. In the health insurance, there's $10,000 budgeted from contingency. Can you explain why that?
Just a
What's the-
number that I put in there, just. I try to make these as accurate as possible, but things can change that could change. So it's a 10,000 contingency number.
I see. So that's not coming from the contingency line. It's just,
A contingency in my estimate.
gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah. But I think that is all of my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Scanlon. Hello again. I do have a question. So we do have a significant difference in our transfer to capital fund, which is on 204. It says that we've been 1,000 and we are and we budgeted in 2023 also 140,000. But when I went back,
Councilman Riley, if you go back to page 218,
mhm,
we are utilizing for the sewer fund 25, 50, 25. So basically it's about 130,000, 115, is it? It's just say roughly 120.
mhm.
We're paying for that out of ARPA funds.
Okay, right. And I see that in the ARPA fund line. However, in the transfer to capital fund, so there's a difference still of, so we're budgeting now $40,000 to transfer for fiscal agent fee, which is where I was going, not from the ARPA line.
Okay.
So please clarify what means to us, because again, if we look at how it was budgeted in 2023, it was 0. But it says here that we,
Yes, we didn't
Okay.
use any ARPA funds in
No,
23.
so this is only rolling the ARPA into a line.
Yes,
That's the sole purpose of this line.
we're taking $115,000 and moving it into a capital line for ARPA spending.
Okay,
For
and
these
that's
items that are listed there, you'll see.
got it,
pump
which is
station.
why we didn't have it budgeted or proposed.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Good.
Yeah, but just, I was just thinking about this because I had a conversation, just recently with constituent, going back to the chemicals and pool control. Well, I'm curious, I guess. So that is for the removal of roots as they protrude or they impact the sewer and water lines? Is that,
Sewer only.
okay, so you control the root by killing it, I'm assuming. right?
Correct.
Well, what happens to the sewer line? This was just a question actually that, and maybe this is not for you, I don't know, but I think it is. And just that came up and I was going to look into it. So here you are.
It's, you have to look at the root problem in clay tile line. A lot like you would look at any clogged drain. You get these roots, you get these tree growths, you get in there and they separate some of the clay tiles. The path and everything else is still absolutely solid to keep everything within the confines of that pipe. So you would clean out any drain, any clog of hair, anything else you get in any drain, you use Drano or something like that. This is a professional strength Drano, pretty much, that takes the tree, any tree root, any growth inside of the line. Again, we're talking about nutrient rich area. This will cut through that. There's also mechanical means where you actually take a bladed object, looks like a sci-fi movie, spins at high RPM with water propelling it, and it'll cut through the roots as well. Whatever it takes to keep the lines open and going. is really the bottom line in that case. The pipes are not destroyed or harmed by this stuff.
But I
And
would
I'm
think
sure,
that
and
they're-
Route X is fairly environmental friendly.
Okay, now I was just thinking that the pipe would be destroyed through the, because of the root going through it or interfering, but
Not really.
Not really,
No,
okay.
It's, you find a lot of times, if you watch YouTube and watch drain cleaning, which you probably don't, maybe I'm just.
don't. I really don't.
I do it all the time, but they'll hold on to this thing.
Still.
They'll hold on to this section of root and they'll pull it out 15, 25 feet. And it's all just bunched up roots
Wow.
out of different
Now we have to go
drainage
look for
culverts
it.
and things like that. Will always happen. These are just different ways of getting through that.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
And I will get up on.
Right.
I have a question.
Call-
Do we need a special license to get a hold of this Drano?
The Root X?
Yeah,
No.
no, you
Oh.
I can buy that somewhere?
Root
No,
X,
it's not recommended. Right, right. Oh, Lord.
it's a little strong.
Yeah, but it's like,
Household use, but it's available.
okay,
on the
thanks.
market.
Thank you.
These people are getting loopy. Right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Oh, did we get to 227, 228? We were,
No changes in the fee schedules.
No, there is. Yes, there is.
Yes, there are.
I'll go through the fee schedules. Basically for this, as I stated, there's no change in the water fund pricing. In the sewer fund, the average resident is gonna see roughly an 8% increase. Okay, the way this was set up. So that the first 500 cubic feet currently is $17. It's going to 17.75 or 75 cents per first 500 cubic feet. Every cubic feet thereafter is going from $7.40 to $8. And then the meters are going up minimal amounts like 20 to 22. And the bigger ones go up from 96 to 100. You can all see them. The average increase, it's actually fairly tight. I think like the people that have minimal usage is going up like 7.8, 7.9. And people that have maximum usage might be going up 8.1, 8.2%.
Yeah, so Chuck, our water bills are going up 7.9%.
The water bills are going up nothing.
Okay,
The sewer bills are going up roughly 8%.
8%. So in the average person's bill then, because they're half and half, would that be a 4% raise in?
You know,
bigger bill?
I'll calculate that.
Okay.
I didn't do that, but I will do that. I have a spreadsheet. that I can-
Okay, thank you.
And I'll give you different ranges so you can see.
You're giving that to all of us.
Excuse me?
You're giving that to all of us.
Yes.
Okay. Right, it was just like, I'll give that to you.
Oh, for one, I don't. No.
Wow.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move pages 178 through 204 sewer section on page 218 and the sewer city fees on pages 227 and 228.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Mr. Kruger. We're all set. Reminder, council, we have a second budget hearing on Monday before our work session at 5 o'clock here. So I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned.
I should have said.
Yeah. Table.